Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Daily AI Show. Today is December 23rd, 2025. We appreciate you being here. Thanks to everybody jumping into the comments. As always, I know a lot of people are starting to be maybe out for the holidays, but you can keep joining us all week, this week, all week. Next week, we'll be here live every single day, just like we are right now at 10 a.m. Eastern. If you can't catch us live, totally understand. You can catch us on the replays, but then you can also go and either watch the replays, but you can also be part of the conversation inside our Slack community. You can get to that by going to the Daily AI Show community.com. With me today are Beth, Ann, Andy, and Brian. I have to always do that slow so Ann and Andy don't get, I have to mix you guys up and stuff. So I always have to put beats in there. Also, as Beth would say, good for the transcript. It's good. If you slow down on the transcript, it tends to do a better job when you get it on the other side. Hey, Gwen in the comments. Love to see you in there. Yo, back to you. Always nice to see you. Okay, so as always, let's jump into a little bit of news stories. I was out yesterday, but I was just doing a quick rundown with you guys, and there was only one actually. I think that had crossed over with what you talked about yesterday, and that was the Waymo story, which was really interesting. And I don't know if you guys said this yesterday. I'll just say this really quick, but not to rehash the news story from yesterday. But my takeaway from that Waymo story, and I don't know if you, Beth and Andy, you guys said this, is that I kind of see it as a success. I do, trust me, as a former firefighter, I get the part of it blocking emergency vehicles, and that's not cool, right? It caused traffic jams. But also, they didn't just careen into people. And I know that's like, yeah, obviously, duh, Brian, but like, it could have been awful. And the result of it was they just stopped dead. And that's not great, but that doesn't harm people per se. Should they have, carefully pulled over to the side of the road and done other things? But I kind of saw it as like, yeah, it's not great for Waymo, and it's not great. Obviously, there's improvements, but also nobody got hurt to my knowledge. And there's some bonuses there of AI being used for the safety of humans. So just wanted to throw it. I didn't know if you guys talked about that part of it yesterday, but that's where my brain with it is like, maybe it's not as bad of a PR as maybe Waymo thinks is. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, there was a story previously with Waymo where my memory is that it was like one just moved slightly and another moved slightly, like it was with a delivery truck on the side or something. So this seems to be an upgrade from like inch by inch. We're trying to figure each other out. Like, nope, stop, wait for further instructions, which is,
And that's exactly what I read, is that did it just overwhelm the humans who were there? Like, how big is the team of humans who are there to give it further instructions? And if they all stop on San Francisco streets and there's, I don't know, 100 of them, what is there? 5, 10 people who are there waiting to give human instructions. So it could have just been overwhelmed. So anyway, I know you guys talked about it yesterday. That's where my brain was with it, and I didn't have a chance to talk to y'all about it. But let's get into some of the other news stories. I have quite a few on here. I will tell you the one that I think is the coolest is Qwen coming out. We know Qwen, Alibaba, Qwen, their models. They came out with they have open source models, but Qwen image layered is live. And I will tell you, this is a big get for me. And what this does is it takes the images and explodes it out into its layers. This is something I cannot wait. Someday will be in Canva. It is something I would use immediately. Now, Canva has like magic grab, and you can sort of do that. But obviously, if I have an image that I created with Nano Banana and I put it into Canva, what I would want is that the natural layers are immediately split for me, a la how you would build in Adobe Photoshop. And there's some news about Adobe too, but this is big because I think of just the bare minimum that I do with images and things for the show. But then I think about all the people who are in this field who are going to be like, this is like a holy grail type of thing. And so I just want to bring it up as a quick story because I have not used it, but it says it'll split them out to 3 to 10 layers, from coarse layouts to fine grained details, infinite decomposition, keep drilling down layers within layers to any depth of detail. That's pretty cool. You can imagine some really cool images where you want to split that out, or it's almost perfect and you just want to shift something off to the right or change perspective. Beth, I think about you and all your talent as an artist. Like, I could see you just like geeking out with this from like what you used to do with Midjourney, or maybe you still do, and just being able to be like, I love that, but I want to change the depth of field, or I want to skew this just slightly so it sort of matches what your artist brain wants. So just didn't know if you guys saw that, but I think it's uber cool. I can't wait to try it.
I think it's an interesting thing in terms of what it's allowing to do versus what what OpenAI did in ChatGPT with Photoshop, right? Is
Mhm.
Quen giving us this, but you have to know the right words to be
Yeah.
able to ask it for something? Because it seems like in Photoshop being in ChatGPT, it's much more like, I don't know what to say, but I would like to be looking down,
Yeah.
like like I'm 6 inches taller than the image, right? Or something
Yeah.
like that. You can actually do that, I think, with this natural language editing. And I haven't seen whether Quen is asking for the real concept or not.
Can
That's
I
a good question. Yeah.
can I pose a question to the crew? As like this example to me is a perfect example of just how creativity is exploding, right? In an environment where, yes, there's concern that creativity may be going away. I think it's a both and. There's going to be some deterioration of some things that we have become accustomed to, and there's going to be this growth in this other area. So if for the moment we're looking at the nano banana example and the layering, I'm very excited about that because we like high touch visuals for our branding. And because we are like, seem to be congenitally allergic to anything that's generic. We can't use templates for the life of us, even if we make them. But then you've also got a lot of enthusiasm around things like Manus, and being able to edit, like GenSpark and Manus, like kind of sort of making, and even Notebook LM, suitable slide decks. Does that mean that the gap between what, like in professionalism, let's say, you're going to have the people riding in with these really straightforward slide decks, and then you've got more things that are even more beautiful and more impactful? Is this an example of the gap growing between the baseline and the ceiling, the floor and the ceiling?
I think it makes, this is my take on it. I think it makes those who are creative more creative, and those who are lacking the tools to be creative, it gives them. And the example, the analogy I would give to that is playing guitar. Years ago, when I started playing guitar when I was 16, so a long time ago. The only way I could have learned to play guitar was through tablature. Could never read chords, never got good at it. But there was tablature, and I can remember in the '90s being able to go to computer labs and print out reams of paper at UGA of tablature, and that's how I learned to play guitar. It is still how I can play guitar, and I was always good at rhythm and stuff, but I'm not the guy that's going to just solo for 3 minutes. It's just not what I can do. I don't really understand scales and fifths and all that stuff, right? So what did that do for me? That tool, that different language unlocked a whole nother level of creativity that it's not that it was not available to me, because I was certainly capable of learning chord progressions and reading music, but I wasn't going to. I just wasn't, right? So it met me where I was. And now, so you have these tools and people who were like not against being creative. They simply didn't have the tools, and nor were they going to give their extra time and attention to get to that next level, be it your Adobe After Effects, which I used to play with. I could only do After Effects back in the day if I had a template to start from. Could not do it from scratch. But I was really good at templates, right? From websites that sold them, and for $9 I could get rocket ship way ahead of where my skill set was. And now we have all these AI tools, and I feel like that's the same thing, right? Like what you mentioned with Manus and being able to do the point and click corrections. That's the other news story with Nano Banana, different from what Quen is doing, where Quen is exploding it. The two of those together inside of a Canva is very, very potent. And that's where I want to see this. But I don't have Beth's art brain. I just don't. I know I don't. I've seen what Beth creates, and I'm like, yep, can't do that. But and that's fine. I can see what Beth can do with her creativity, right? And like what she's shown us years ago with Nano Banana, or I'm sorry, Midjourney and stuff, blow my mind. And I go, yeah, I don't think I have that, but it does allow me to take what I do have and rocket ship forward. And I think that's really exciting. The other example of that would be Suno. I have just had so much fun making music on Suno, fully understanding that this does not make me a composer. And I'm totally fine with that. I still have a lot of fun making the music on Suno.
Yeah.
I understand
Yeah.
my role in this,
Yeah. Yeah, it's allowing a lot of people to get in the game, in a game that they otherwise were locked out of because of some obstacle. And then some of the people at the top are just going to like blow everybody's socks off.
Yeah. And just the other answer to that to Anne is, you're a good example of this too with your expertise. But my friend Angela, who we've actually quoted on the show, she's a photographer. Same deal though, right? She, just because everybody came out with iPhones did not make me because I have a 12 megapixel iPhone camera doesn't make me Angela. Angela has just the depth of knowledge. I've known her for next year will be 30 years. And what she knows and understands about light and all the things that I can't even fathom to fake, right? She understands. And so her with a phone in her hand is not the same thing as me with a camera in my hand. Yeah. And so that's the other side of it too, is her expertise take that, pre-AI, but the iPhone camera to a whole other level, and her ability to point and click does not equate with my ability to point and click. We're just not seeing the same thing.
Yeah. That's cool.
And this is where, for me, at this point, I'm talking about it as the puppet or the parrot, right? It's Google's live assist, right? So that it can see what's on your screen. I don't care if it's in my computer, right? Like, let's just give me a parrot that's like a phone over here, because I want to be able to periodically say, hey, this is what I'm seeing, right? You can see me point at the screen. You can have all of that context and then give me the next piece of information that I need to go toward my vision. And look for the AI parrot on your shoulder in 2026, because I don't know, but I wish it existed.
Hey, Andy, you haven't, I know you've been a little quiet here as we're going off down this road, but how about your news stories? What's the main news story you wanted to share today?
Let me just wrap that last conversation to Anne's question. I think there's a general principle in AI augmentation of human capabilities that the top quintile gets a boost and they stay in the top quintile.
Yeah.
The people down at the bottom levels, like the first and second order quintiles, those people jump way up to the level of accomplishment of, say, the second quintile. So there's an equalization that happens in creativity, as well as every other thing that AI can support in this co-intelligence regime. But you're never gonna use AI to outmatch the people in the top quintile, because they're going to use AI as well, and they're going to be boosted as well.
What's happening with the third quintile, do you suppose?
Who knows? They're in the middle ground, and you don't want to be caught in the middle. So. Okay, so I have a little kind of riff to talk about with news of a very new thing that just happened today from OpenAI in ChatGPT called Your Year in ChatGPT. Okay, you have to try it. It's going to be amazing. But here's what led into it. I'm reading the newsletters this morning, and one of the newsletters is one of those little surveys, and it said, which AI tool do you use most often? And it listed the tools that you could select in the following order: ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Copilot, and Perplexity. Just those 5. And those are the 5 that are most important, right? I think it's true. And my answer to that, which one do I use most often? Yes, all of them, with the exception of Copilot. Move Copilot off the list. But yes, I use every one of those. And then that leads me to this question of your year in ChatGPT. My initial reaction when I saw this your year in ChatGPT function, which is on the left at the top when you go to chat.openai.com, when I said, well, I don't really use ChatGPT as often as I do Claude recently. But it turns out when I did it, that I had done quite a bit in ChatGPT, especially after 5.2 came out. I moved a lot of work that I was doing over there to see how it would perform and so on. But over the course of 12 months, there was a lot going on there. So I wanted to share with you a little bit of what you get when you click on your year in ChatGPT. It's great. It's beautifully interactive and gorgeous graphically, and it has true insights about you, as we've seen. Like when you ask one of the assistants that you're working with, tell me what you know about me. This started happening back last year. It knows quite a bit about you and has understood quite a bit, and that's challenged us to understand, well, how are you retaining that memory of that? Or are you analyzing now, when I ask this question, all of that data? Well, I believe your year in ChatGPT does kick off an analysis of every single chat that you've done in order to aggregate the results here. So here's a quick run through of what it gave me. The first thing is it tells you a little poem about who you are on ChatGPT. Then 3 big themes of 2025. For me, it was you devoted major effort to creating structured AI prompt lessons, refining templates, fixing CSV schemas, and enforcing clear pedagogical flow from narrative to challenge. And number 2, you turned ideas into working products. You repeatedly transformed concepts into tangible outputs, custom GPTs, PRDs, tax planning models, and Supabase app specs, bridging creative design with technical and business practicality. And finally, you began shaping tools to record life stories, blending taxonomy-driven interviews and thoughtful backups to preserve memories with respect, clarity, and continuity. Then it gives you a bunch of statistics. It tells me that I'm in the first 1% of all users of ChatGPT.
Me too.
Right? It says I'm in top 10% of messages sent, even though I use it only part-time, right? So, we are not, this is evidence clearly that we are among the serious users of AI. I did 2,400 messages to ChatGPT. Here's my chat style. You speak with warmth, curiosity, and precision, balancing analytical depth with conversational ease, often exploring topics through reflective, exploratory, and purposeful dialogue. Thank you. My archetype is the strategist. 3.6% of users share this archetype.
I got the same one.
You got the one. All right. Okay.
Yeah, I got the strategist.
And the strategist has these qualities: the explorer, planner, and conceptual. Okay. Thinks big picture across domains, uses ChatGPT to evaluate trade-offs, synthesize information, and guide direction. And then it gives you a bunch of these little, I don't know what to call them, slogos or whatever. And I'll read one of the 4 that I generated, which was fun. It says, do another one, do another one. It says, your instinct to make systems talk to each other will connect more than just data.
Oh.
And this is a reflection of the fact that I often use one model and I tell it that I'm doing this. I'm going to give your output to this other model. And I want you to then to see what that model says, and I want you to interpolate that. So anyway, go play with that. That's awesome. I'm impressed with ChatGPT for putting that out.
Can I tell you, Andy? So I started clicking on mine as you were doing yours. This is the one that makes me laugh the most. First of all, this is what was the superlative it gave me? First of all, to go with your numbers there, top 1% of messages sent. First 0.1% of users, and I've sent 8,300 messages through ChatGPT and created. Wow. I've had 481 chats, almost 7,000 M-dashes exchanged. That's funny. Yeah, that's funny and not funny. 200 images created, but the chat style made me laugh. It goes direct, fast-paced, and creative with a mix of humor, precision, and impatience when clarity or focus drifts off course. But then I read what it is, and this is the examples it gave me. One was option B. The next one, yes, do that. Okay, now do the same with this one. This is okay, but I don't want to see it. The last one, holy shit, this is dumb.
Yeah.
And then my award was most likely to automate his own job and everyone else's. So I don't know to laugh or cry about that, but anyway, I'm glad you brought that up, Andy. That was good. It's very creative and interactive.
Yeah, it's really good.
And did you get 22,000?
22.62 thousand chats.
There you go.
Wow.
There you go.
Wait,
Now-
Ann, how can you do that? That's not humanly possible.
Well, I
Add
also
that by
got,
365. That's what I want to do.
I got most likely to build an empire between Zoom chats for my slogan, which is so perfect because that's literally my life. I think this is so cute, and I applaud them for all efforts to land something that's actually fun and light and cheerful. And
Yep.
you know, I mean, people, there's problems with it, I'm sure, but like, let us have nice things again. Let us have stuff that's just cute and fun and funny.
Yep.
Love it. Love
Yeah,
it.
I agree. Well, it's well done. It's really well done. Thanks for sharing that. I thought you were gonna. This is just a quick news story, but I think this came out over the last day too. Wait, hold on. Did you guys say you talked about personalization yesterday, Beth?
No.
No.
And
So
also, hi, Karl.
yeah, Carl's there as well. ChatGPT also, aside from the year in review thing, came out with a little bit more granular controls over personalization. I have not personally gone and done that yet, but as always, it's less of a fear with 5.2. I would say I'm having less sleepless nights, but I used to wake up in panic attacks. That's not really a joke. That like would happen with GPTs in the past that I built because system personalization was messing with GPTs that I had built because I can't control how every individual wants to use their GPT on the end. I can only build the tool, but it's AI, so it's an LLM and it's predictive. And if it's got that appended to the top of the system message is appended to the top, and it's like be witty and be fun or whatever. Well, that might fly in the face of what I want my GPT to do. And then what would happen is people would say like, my GPT is just not that good, and I'd be like, well, that's a reflection of you, but I can't tell you that because I'm a consultant and I work for you. But that's what I would be thinking in my head is this is a user thing, not a builder thing, right? I take pride in the things I build like you guys do. So, you know, I'm a little protective, I suppose. But 5.2 has made that a little bit better. So I'm less worried about seeing this. But as we get into those more granular individual controls, that does have an impact, obviously, purposefully, on the tools we're using. And if you're the tool builder, well, then you have to factor that in if your end goal is to make a great user experience. And so 5.2 and Gemini on that side have done actually a really good job of blowing that out a bit and not making me prompt within really, really tight windows and lanes. And so you can stay a little bit more like open and be like, this is my big goal and this is where you need to be as a gem or a custom GPT. And that allows more creativity and more variability, I feel like, from the end user standpoint, because they're now using a tool. And this goes back to me saying why 5.2 and 3.0 and the gems and the custom GPTs that come out of them are fundamentally different in prompting, is because they start the same way. Give me the big picture. Give me the big goal. Then I will fill in the blanks. I do not need you, Brian, to write the prompting and fill in all the blanks for me. I just need the structure. I need the framework, and I will do the rest. And I'm smart enough to understand when people are asking for it this way, that way, which helps with the customization of personalization. So it should be okay. I should have less sleepless nights over this. I haven't heard anything from people, but I'll be interested to see if there's any blowback from this, from things that I've built in the past where people go, hey, it doesn't really work the way it used to. What happened? What drifted with your prompt? And I'm going to say nothing. It's you changed your personalization, most likely.
Well, this is where, for the audience who's in the chat and listening and watching later, I want to put a plug in for the Daily AI Show Slack community, because Brian, your gem of gems, your gem to make gems.
Yeah.
I've used it a few times, and I spent like a day working on one that I shared with a bunch of people yesterday, and I've been having people test it and they're losing their minds over it. It's so good. So if you're out there and you're not in the Slack community, go into the Slack community for the Daily AI Show, because there are goodies in there that you can't get anywhere else. So you want access to Brian's gem of gems, I promise you.
I appreciate it. I use it every day. I use it every day. I was just talking to a client about it this morning. He was over in the UK and we were just chit-chatting about it. So thanks. I appreciate it.
So good. So good.
Karl, did you have any news? We're kind of still around going around the horn, but Karl or Beth, news that you want to bring up for today?
Beth, did you want to go first, or?
I can go first because mine's small. Yesterday, Cursor, according to posts on Reddit and X, had various models were free, and people were flipping out, right? Like Opus 4.5 for free. And there isn't an official thing that I've seen from this, but it switches off from free pretty soon. And if you look under usage, your free use still counts as your usage. So maybe it was a glitch, maybe it wasn't. If you see that today, make sure you're watching your usage when you're doing things, because it's still counting. And also, it may just have been a glitch because maybe Composer was free for a little while. So that is a news story that is that wasn't written up, but was definitely something that I was seeing Redditors and X talk about. So if you got fooled, again, go look at your usage if you're using Cursor.
What you got, Karl?
Yesterday, did you cover the Nick Thompson piece at all? Okay, so it's an amazing. I'm just gonna play there's 6 takeaways from him, because he had lunch with Sam Altman, and I think like in that meeting it was very more even more candid, and I think it's worth listening. I'm not going to play the entire thing, but even the first part was really interesting too. So let's see here.
I can do it. Here you go. Sorry about that.
And let's just. Oh, there it is.
Was quite forthcoming. Here are 6 things that stuck out to me. First, the overhang. He talked a lot about how there's a giant gap between the capabilities of AI and the impact that it's really having in the world right now. It probably hasn't changed your company, even though the models have gotten so much smarter, so much better, as you can tell if you use them all the time. This led to a question of, well, wait, if there's this huge gap between capabilities and impact, does that mean that there could be a big gap in income inequality in the future, that the people who learn how to get the most out of these models will hugely benefit and the people who don't will not? And he said, yes. And in fact, this is worrisome. It's one of the most complicated societal implications of where AI is going. Second thing he said that was interesting. He said that in the future, he thinks the competition, right now we're all focused on Google versus OpenAI versus Anthropic, right? He thinks that it will be much more competition between AI and a different form factor, that it won't be your phone. It probably won't be your glasses for a while, which is the bet that Meta is making, that there'll be some other device. Obviously, he has an incentive to say this. He's just acquired Johnny Ive's company. They're building some kind of thing, some kind of other device for AI. But he said something interesting, which is that he suspects the battle of the future will be more OpenAI versus Apple. That their goal is to figure out what the device of the future is. It'll have AI on it. Apple probably heading in that direction too. He also said that he expects, maybe not immediately at launch, but in the future, that device, whatever it is, will have local AI, meaning that it won't go up and communicate with the cloud constantly. This is actually pretty important when you think about privacy, right? If you're wearing a device, let's say it's a necklace or it's a headband or it's an earring, who the hell knows what it is? It's going to be with you all the time, which will be advantageous because you can ask questions. It will have a very personal relationship with you, and disadvantageous in that it will know everything about you. If the AI is operating locally, meaning it's not communicating back and forth with some central server, that is much better for privacy. So
Okay. Anyway, so that's kind of those are just 2 things. You should listen to the other ones. It's a really good take on it. I thought the first one was very interesting because you can see there is a gap between people. I say there's usually 3 gaps. One is people who use AI frequently versus who don't. That's a pretty big gap in itself. People who use AI frequently versus people who use AI to its full capabilities, another big gap on itself. And then for us, it's people who use AI frequently or full capabilities and who can actually use those capabilities for their work. That's more of a business gap. But I say those three things, it's literally the same thing. It's about how many people do we know actually understand the full swath of what AI can do, model to model to model to model, tool to tool to tool to tool. Very, very, Andy, we were just talking about the, what 0.1%, right, of all the people who use ChatGPT, this is how many messages, right? So I would imagine all of us here, all of us everyone listening, probably in that 0.1% of all the chat. 800 million people, 900 million people. There's only certain percentage who use it on a regular basis. And then on top of that, even use it all the capabilities, right? So it's very interesting, especially when he's talked about the inequality gap between those who eventually can access this, use it fully versus those who don't. You just have a massive advantage. I think like right now, I think like people who don't versus people who do, it's right. I don't know. What do you all think?
I think if you're not using it, you're not understanding what it's capable of doing. I watched a conversation happening with a very prolific history professor who just came out with a new book, and he is fairly anti-AI and was saying, I couldn't have done this. I couldn't have written my book with AI because AI is not capable of being curious in that kind of way. And a bunch of my resources were handwritten in very stylized script. And one of the comments that he got was, oh, I'm doing research in like the 1800s Norwegian stylized script, and it's actually really good. And he said, oh, I didn't know that because the last time I tried that was whatever it was ago. That, I think, is one of the real differences if you are not using it on the regular, even if you're not a heavy 0.1% user. If you're not engaged, you're not aware of what's possible now.
100% agree. I mean, imagine how many professors are out there.
If things are happening so quickly, you can't say, oh, I tried that a year ago. That's irrelevant at this point.
You can't say I tried it 2 months ago.
No, can't even do that, right? It's like we hear that a lot. It's like, oh, I tried it and it didn't work. It's like, when did you try it? And even Ryan, you were saying like, oh, my GPT doesn't work. I'm sure the questions you'd ask, like, okay, what model are you using?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Like the first thing would be like, okay, what model? 4.0? No. Like you just literally like, even the jump between 5 and 5.2 is big enough, massive difference for people. Yeah. So it's like, and that's the thing is like, it's so hard for people to be like, well, it doesn't work, but the expectation it won't work for a year or two. But it's like, no. We're talking like months sometimes before any of this stuff. And like, we're talking jumps to video, we're talking jumps to image, what you can do with it. So it's like, you're not in the bubble. Like it's very hard for you to be keeping up with everything. But
that's right. I think it'd be hard to have be a professor at a college or something and then have to submit this whole curriculum. If you can't be fluid with your curriculum, you could have like sort of, we're going to talk about image generation per se, but to go into that curriculum and say like, we will talk about this model or that model, by the time that comes up in the course, God help you, the next semester, it's changed. And, these things usually need to be submitted and approved and things like that, depending on the colleges and even high school or whatever, just be really, really difficult, I think, to do that. I've taught live classes where this has happened to me so many times over the 2.5 years that I've taught live classes, where I've had to, between week 2 and week 3, change something I said in week 2 during the live class on week 3 and say, we just talked about this last week and that's the way this goes. That's Murphy's Law. This has now come out in the last 3 days. So, it's never really a forget what I said, but like append to what I just said, because things have shifted slightly.
So we're tasked with actually creating a course in AI for one of the local colleges in Calgary. And I'm like, you need to create this in January for a class that's going to be taught in fall. I was like, how am I going to possibly do this in a way that's even remotely like relevant? Like, and the thing is like, would you like to teach the class? No. So it's like, they're going to have a professor teach our curriculum. I was like, good luck with that. I have no clue how that even will translate. And I'm like, okay, who's the professor? And it's like, that dude. And I nothing against. I was like, does he actually know? Like, is he? And he's like, well, he's like technical. I'm like, no, that's not what I asked. What I asked is like, this person has to be plugged in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we'll probably make a recommendation, but it's like because I think you're right. That's how a curriculum, it has to be built. It's not built a week or two. It's built like months in advance, and then taken through the rigor, and then, promoted and put into the course, whatever. So I was like, I don't know how we're going to do this, because
I actually have some ideas on how to do that, but it has to be a live application that's generating that at the time of the of the presentation. I don't mean literally in the hour that he's standing in the lecture hall, but I mean in the same month at least, maybe even during the few days before that.
Right.
So yeah, I think there are ways to do it.
Yeah, well, you've shown it too, Andy, on the back, with how you think about taxonomies and stuff like that. I mean, I've worked with you on projects like that, and you sort of paved the way for that. So like, yeah, I 100% agree with you. You've sort of shown that you can stay fluid while still having the right building blocks that then create the live
and couple that with deep research driving the taxonomy with the latest information, and then regenerating. So yeah, go ahead, Karl.
You're all right. The only issue we have, and it's the same thing with any company, is their process will prevent that. Because there's you have to abide by a certain like
deadlines and
right and
sabbatical proof. Yeah,
you can't like circumvent it. So it's like, I can make all the recommendations on what it is, but I can't change how it's going to get approved. So I'd be like, oh yeah, by the way, it can do this now. So I have to change half the curriculum because I said it couldn't, or we'll look for it, but now it can. It's like, no, it's too late to change. And we're kind of hooped. So it's trying to figure a way to make the curriculum so easy to pivot. That's the challenge right now, and to bypass all the ludicrous like process that
speaking of ludicrous, that was a totally coincidental thing.
That is crazy. How
great quote.
How many times has anyone said ludicrous this year? Two people said it exactly the same time.
I want to make sure I read it out loud though, so we give credit. Carmela Pereira, thank you. She said, gives me meaning to building the plane while flying it. I'm reminded of Rick Moranis' face in Spaceballs during the ludicrous speed bit, which is such a classic. I don't know if the new Spaceballs will be good or bad, but I know they just finished it, so we'll have to see if it holds up. What was I about to say about I was about to say something about the professor thing. Oh, you know what I was going to say really quick, just as a fun thought experiment. Think about, there are professors, men and women out there right now who lean on this show to keep them updated, so they say the right things in class. I guarantee it. Because like we saw on our Spotify review that, just on Spotify, we're 300, 400 people's top show, like top saved show and stuff like that. So you figure that plus all of YouTube and stuff like that. So somebody out there is listening to our voices right now and thinking, I'm glad they're covering these topics so I can sound smart when I stand in front of my students in the next day. So there you go. By the way, I will tell you this, you're saying this, Karl, too, about like finding the right people. I'll tell y'all, one of the easiest flexes is saying that I co-host a daily show about AI. And the minute I say we've done 620 plus episodes, that's usually the end of the conversation about whether I deserve to be in the room or not. And I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that when that comes up, it's quickly handled. And all I have to say is that
handled.
Go look at the show. It's all
So-
there.
You
So,
know,
I just, sorry,
No,
in
go
a
for it.
second hand, I just want to add slight perspective to what we're talking about, which is Sam is using the next level in his experience. So in the same way that professor is talking about 2 weeks ago, Sam is actually having conversations with us about where we are with access to the new models that they're using.
Yes.
Right? So people often say, he's sort of cryptic and he talks in these, like it's because he's using the next thing and he can't talk about it. Or he's talking about it in a cryptic kind of way, right?
Imagine all of us using 2 models, 3 models advanced, and then trying to be on a show talking about it and not being able to talk about that. How could we possibly, like, imagine we have, let's just hypothetically say we have an AGI model, whatever that means to anybody. How are we supposed to talk in random kind of like, oh, it can't do that. Smile with our face, like have a stupid smile because it's like, I can't wait. In about a year, you're going to see this fun stuff, but I can't tell it. I can't say anything. It's going to be such a weird, like, I don't know how he does it. Right?
And we know from red teamers who were released to be able to speak about stuff, they don't release all the models. They have had better models that they could use internally that were too expensive to release commercially, right? But the red teamers still tested it, right? Like, ugh.
Like, yeah, like you're talking to a reporter and in your mind, like, this fool doesn't know anything. But you're like, oh yeah, I don't know. It doesn't work like that. And then, but it's not OpenAI. It's like Google too, Anthropic too. And they're just looking at you like, this person has no clue what really is going on. But I have to make up stuff kind of with a straight face. And like, I don't know how you can do that.
With a straight face is the problem.
Yes, with a straight face too.
And we cut you off a couple times.
Oh no. Well, I was just going to say, kind of transitioning over when we were referencing the recent Ethan Mollick article from One Useful Thing. This is the syllabus approval process in higher ed is a perfect example of the bottleneck that us humans are creating and that we have to address if we're going to be able to socialize the use of the technology, like in the same era that it's in, right? Those systems can't continue. We can't have something where the kids are loading their syllabus into Notebook LM to start learning their online class because they have to find ways to make it interesting because it's so boring for them. And they're loading a syllabus that's going to include references to AI technology that's 6 months old, 5 months old by the time they get to that section. Like, this is a non-starter, but can you imagine what it would take to fix that process? I mean, that is like embedded in all universities and colleges around the world.
Yeah. Just try to get rid of the egos, Anne.
The egos. I mean, we're talking about human nature.
Moly.
Like, if we can correct
professor egos is
was married to one, so can confirm. Well, I've worked with all of them for 30 years, so he knows. I mean, he knows. It's all good. But if we could use this disruptive technology as an excuse to break up the rock pile with some of the things that we do that don't make sense anymore, this would be on one of the top of my list. Just totally redo higher ed because none of it's going to work anymore.
Can we do that in the next 3 years before my daughter gets to college?
Yes, please. Cool with that? Yeah, let's do that.
Can we make that an item? Hey, are you guys really cool with me doing a quick pivot here? I forgot I wanted to show you something. Only Andy and anybody who was on the live show got to see the website. But since Karl and Ann, you're here, can I show you a quick update on the Daily iShow website build that I'm doing?
Yeah.
Okay, let me show you really quick because I think you guys all like where this is going. Andy has already seen. Andy is the other intelligence, the other human intelligence on the backside of this right now, helping me out with it and everything else. But as I was showing on the show a week ago, we have an Ask the Show. It's not live. This is not live. This is in Lovable right now, so you can't go do this or anything. But basically, the idea here is that it's going to, if we put it in a search criteria, and by the way, there's only 5 shows in here as a test, so there's no 600 shows in here. There's only 5 episodes in here at the moment. But if I put in something like, is putting data centers in space actually a good idea, and I hit search, what you're going to see here in a second is that it's first coming up with basically the perplexity answer. It is the perplexity answer on it. And then what it's doing is it's coming back. Oh my goodness. Why is it being slow? It usually runs immediately.
Because you're streaming. Because you're live streaming.
I'm streaming. Yeah. It's just so ridiculous how much it pulls on the power here. Let me stop streaming to see if I can get this to run really quick, and then I'll bring it back on screen. Oh, that's annoying. Because it literally just ran 2 seconds ago. See, you try to show nice things. Try to do nice things on the show.
It's the live demo gremlin. Like,
here it is. It literally just popped up. I don't know what the issue is. Let me pull it back up on screen here real quick, and I'll show you. So what it does, obviously, is it does the search function, but then it pulls up all the clips from the show, any of the shows where we talked about it. And then if we click on any one of these, it's going to pop it up into
AI, and those AIs powered by.
And this is where Andy is talking about that particular topic. And then down here, you have like a little summary for it. And then you have the full transcript here. And then if you want to do the copy timestamp link to watch it in YouTube, you can do that. And so this is all something I've been working on for the show. But now the new feature here is that if I click a bunch of different episodes or a bunch of different clips, and we get this out of the way, and I go to generate a reel, what it's going to now do is open up a new studio, and that studio now will create mega clips. It's not at a point where it's creating them themselves, but basically I have it, the way it goes, all the information goes into Superbase. It's able to pull back and say, well, we can do a deep dive. And it's saying, well, look, I think this first clip should be the hook, and here's the reason for it. This is the perfect hook. It starts with a strong, relatable question connecting famous billionaires to a futuristic concept of AI in space. And then it's saying, here's the body and here's the kicker. And they're about a minute and a half piece. So it's basically creating a super clip of this particular topic across that. And then what's new is, and it's not, you can see it's not working for whatever reason on here, but I've been doing a viral mode because I said, well, these are great for like 4-minute and 5-minute clips, but what if I want a 30-second highlight reel of like all of Andy's best words that he uses or something like that over the course of the show? And then what I would do is just click over to viral mode, and I would get the shorter clips on it. So the concept here being that like you can ask anything of the show. You can get questions like, did Japan say they got AGI? I just happen to know that's part of one of the shows on there. And then it's going to do the web intelligence to it. And we talked about it one time. Integral.ai claims AGI achievement. And then there you go. And then
yes. So let me share my screen here. I want to show you what their website,
that particular news story on there. So just sort of keeping the progress moving here. But the idea being here that, as Andy knows, we've taken all this data, and it'll be over 600 shows eventually. Obviously, there's only 5 in right now. And the way it goes in and breaks out the data of all the time-stamped transcripts, the VTTs, and then uses that data in a really rich semantic way. It enables us to have a search function that only brings back research that says, well, what happened? And Perplexity goes and does that, but then it's followed up by, well, what did the show say about that? And then, of course, you have the clips. The ultimate goal here is to have, I'm currently working on auto import so that I can do bulk uploading of shows, and I'm working through the process on the back end of Lovable of how to get that right without duplicating effort. And then the future scope of this is that, yes, it's showing you the playlist, but that's not really creating the clip. What I want is a one-off solution that literally creates the new YouTube video, the new YouTube short, the new TikTok short, video or whatever off a super clip, so that on the back end, we can just say, what are the last 5 news stories about GPT 5.2 or OpenAI or whatever, and immediately do the search, which is going to bring up some stuff from Perplexity, but more from a back end standpoint, it's going to enable us to then create clips and super clips off of that we can put out as shorts based off of that idea. So that's where I am now. I just want to give people kind of an update of where the show build, the website build is. And then that's just the search function. The rest of the website is there as well, with a landing page and an about us and episodes list and all that. And at some point, once I get the auto upload done and I don't have to do this manually, we will eventually have, 100, 200, 300 shows, but I'm still testing functionality and stuff. So
2026 is our year, guys. Here we go.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I have a bunch of days off coming up, and I fully plan on keep going on this. And I've been bouncing the ideas off of Andy, and Andy helped me set up a GitHub, which is amazing. So thank you for that, Andy. So that there's things are put where they need to be and that kind of stuff. So I'm learning along the way as well.
Yeah, I think this is really advanced work in AI, and especially in the accumulation and assembly of relevant short clips that are specifically on the topic. So having an AI application literally create the clip dynamically as a result of a search query I don't think people have done that before.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it seems like the right idea. It's an idea to me. Like, everybody in the comments is like, it's about the data, and it really is. It's like, how can you chop up and consume that data to make AI be able to use it in the right way? And it's not as straightforward as a notebook with, we know this. It's not, I can't put all 600 shows into a notebook LM and get the same result. I'm not saying that won't exist someday. It's very possible that there's a draining moat around this idea, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be ever, but if it never does anything more than creates an amazing resource for us internally at the show. I mean, one of the biggest time consuming things is creating net new content. But if I have 600 shows, and a lot of that is evergreen, and I can create 10 more videos tomorrow, 10 more shorts tomorrow that are on evergreen content, or I just want to really dig in and just be about what Andy said or Beth said, and when you're on the show and I can just go, bring me up the and highlights, then that's what I want to be able to do.
So Brian, one of the things that you've built into this that I want you to just speak to quickly is the temporal sequence, right? So we have a very long, history of shows, and some of those things may not be evergreen, but your temporal management of it means that it's going to show those in chronological order. And so you can kind of take with a grain of salt the validity or, legitimacy anymore of something that was done in 2023.
Right.
And do you want to just talk about how you set that up?
Really, I think it goes back to how you dissect the data and how you use the keywords so that when you're doing your prompting and searching over, I have several steps right now of how it chunks and analyzes the data for different reasons. It uses different models for that. Some of it's using Gemini Pro, some of it's using Gemini Flash, depending on what the lift is, right, for that side of it. But what it's essentially doing by looking at date and stuff, when it does the search, it's bringing that into consideration. And yes, if I just ask it about 5.2, or if I just ask it about ChatGPT in general, it should bring me back like 40 clips, right? We talk about it quite a bit, or OpenAI or whatever. So there's nothing in there at the moment that's going to say, hey, this is more valid of a clip than another one, other than date on there from that side of things, Andy. But it's certainly something I could see factoring in to how the search results, that it's ordered more in terms of, well, you wouldn't want to really push it too hard because there's things that you might want to bring up that are historical that aren't, because they're time sensitive, right? So you may not want to put that kind of list on it. But anyway, that's how it's really how it's being broken up.
This lends itself to a timeline type presentation of the clips.
Yes.
Right? So you clearly show the time separation. Like we talked about this in 2023 in October, and there's a big long gap until here, and you can actually lay that out graphically and show that it spans time in a way that you might want to click on a clip that's much more recent as a result of the query or you might be interested in the historical progression of those things, and so you have the timeline organization to help you with that.
And maybe
Yeah.
you have to sit through a little PSA like what we just talked about in terms of setting up courses that are vetted 6 months before they happen.
Yeah.
You are watching a historical record of what we were talking about at the time.
Well, that's a great pivot for Festivus. So let's talk about it real quick,
Yay.
Dan, because that's a great pivot towards how do you learn about AI and things going on? Well,
Yeah.
this second year of AI Festivus. So, and tell us
Sure.
all the things, because that comes up in what, 3 days?
Couple days, yeah. And before I say that, I just want to like tip my cap, because I think what you're creating is a resource that I hope will be like in the Library of Congress or the Smithsonian or something someday, because you have this data that you have is nobody has this data. Like you're doing something that's so foundational to our understanding of history. Like this is you are making history. Okay, done gassing you guys up. So Festivus is right around the corner. It's the 26th, which is Friday of December, 26th of December, which is Friday, and the 27th. We have familiar faces like Beth and Jyunmi talking about how we actually do live in science fiction now. And we have new faces, people who I'm guessing none of us in our little ecosystem have ever met or heard from before. There will be an airing of grievances. There are feats of strength. We also have what we're referring to as Film Festivus, because we will have like 5 or 6 short films, award-winning films that with their artists there. In one case, we also have the person who made the music behind it. We also have what we're referring to as Manifestivus, which is we're doing some manifesting with AI and rampaging. Rampaging, I gather, is like manifesting, but on steroids. So it's going to be great. There are lots of fun things to do. There's a virtual expo that we've had a ton of fun making. So you can put your brand in there if you want to, and you can go shopping in there if you want to. It's going to be great fun. It's from 9 a.m. Pacific to 9 p.m. Pacific, 26th and 27th, and it's free. So you can't not go. You got to go.
I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. Well, did you give the website already for it? You probably did. I was reading comments.
Oh, sorry, AIFestivus.com. And in the gremlins being what they are, yesterday Google decided that rather than sending people to AIFestivus.com, it would send them to some rando website. So just put in AIFestivus.com. Don't put in AI event end of year.
And I just want to say too, because like I don't want to quote the price wrong, so you tell us, but I remember seeing this. It is an absurdly low price if you want to. It's free. I know the event is free, but if you want to be able to have access to all the recordings, which you just said are like 12 hours a day for 2 days, if you want to have access to how much is that going to cost people? Because it's ridiculous.
It's $27 and it supports the event. So for folks who are you know what? I sometimes wish I didn't see like registration info, because I'm like, yo, you're not going to spend $27 to support the event. Like, you're our best friend.
Yeah.
So pay the $27 so you like, we've got, bigger Zoom webinars, blah, 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 support the event. And the replay bundle is so cool. We include so many different cute, wonderful interpretations of the content. It's a gift unto itself. So buy it.
Love it.
27 bones.
Okay. Well, listen, we'll wrap it up for the day there. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thank you as always. And Anne, are you going to be able to be with us next Tuesday? Is this the last time we're going to see you? That's the 30th. You're going to be here next Thursday?
Yep.
Or Tuesday,
we're around. We are pretty low key during this particular holiday season. We'll be around. Yeah.
Very good. So maybe we'll look at next Tuesday. We'll maybe even see if Jyunmi can make it. Maybe that's when we'll do our year in review, or maybe projections to 30. I don't know. It would be fun to have Anne on you on for maybe some predictions into 2026. Maybe we can plan that for next Tuesday. That'd be fun.
That sounds fun.
We'll see if we can get Jyunmi here and see if Karl's available and stuff like that. So, all right. Thanks everybody for hanging out. And we will see you again tomorrow and the rest of the week. Like I said, we're not going anywhere. We have too good of a streak to let it go. So we're too proud of it. So we will be here Monday through Friday, this week and next week, all the way through the new year. So come back in and hang out with us. Thank you to everybody in the comments. Thank you to the new faces. I saw some new names and faces in the comments today. Very, very cool to see you. Welcome to the show. If it's your first time, we appreciate you being here. That's it, guys. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye.